Ever wondered what makes Swedish meatballs so special? It's not just the meat and the spices, it's the love and tradition that goes into each one. In Sweden, these delightful orbs of flavor, known as köttbullar, are more than just a dish. They're an integral part of the culture. Each family has a cherished recipe passed down through generations, each with its own unique twist. Some people insist on grating onion right into the meatball mixture, while others fry the onion separately for a different texture and flavor. The gravy too varies from thick and hearty in some homes to a light and delicate meat juice in others. Down south, people tend to favor a bit more fat in their ground meat, while up north you'll find less pork in the mix. But one thing everyone agrees on: bread or rusk crumbs soaked in milk are essential for that soft, tender consistency that sets Swedish meatballs apart. Let's dive into the world of köttbullar and discover what makes them a Swedish culinary treasure. To make authentic Swedish meatballs, you'll need a handful of simple ingredients. Ground meat, traditionally a mix of pork and beef, forms the hearty base of our meatballs. The meat's fat content varies regionally, with southern Sweden favoring a fattier blend. Bread or rusk crumbs soaked in milk are key to achieving the unique, soft consistency of these meatballs. Onion, either grated into the mixture or fried separately, adds a layer of savory depth. Now let's move on to the sauce. A thin meat juice or a thick brown gravy, the choice is yours. Both options complement the meatballs beautifully, and we can't forget the traditional sides: lingonberries and pressed cucumber. The tart sweetness of lingonberries cuts through the richness of the meatballs, while the crunch of pressed cucumber adds a refreshing contrast. Now that we have our ingredients ready, it's time to start cooking. The first step in our journey is creating the meatballs themselves. Before we dive in, let's remember, Swedish meatballs, or köttbullar, are a labor of love. There are as many variations as there are Swedish grandmothers, each with their own secret ingredient or technique. But today, we're going to stick to a classic recipe, one that's been passed down for generations. First, we're going to tackle the breadcrumbs. Now, these aren't just any breadcrumbs. They're the secret to giving our meatballs that unique, soft consistency. Soak them in milk until they swell. This might seem like a small step, but it's crucial in achieving the perfect texture. While our breadcrumbs are soaking, let's move on to the meat. A traditional köttbullar recipe calls for a blend of pork and beef. Some prefer a bit more fat in the south of Sweden, less pork in the north, but the choice is yours. The key is to ensure the meat is finely ground for a smooth, even texture. Now let's combine our soaked breadcrumbs with the meat. Add in finely diced or grated onion, again, a point of contention among meatball aficionados. Some like to fry the onion separately for a more caramelized flavor, but for our purposes, we're adding it raw to the mix. Next, it's time to shape our meatballs. We're aiming for a size that's just right, not too small, not too large. About the size of a golf ball should do. Make sure they're all uniform in size, as this ensures even cooking. There's something almost meditative about this process, rolling each meatball with care and attention. As you shape each meatball, place them on a tray. We're nearly there. You should start to see your labor of love taking shape, each meatball a testament to the care and attention you've put into this dish. With our meatballs shaped and ready, we move on to the next step: cooking. Now that our meatballs are ready, it's time to bring them to life. First, we're going to start by browning them in a pan. This is a crucial step that gives our meatballs that gorgeous golden brown crust that's just packed with flavor. Remember, we're not cooking them through at this point. We're just searing the outside to lock in those delicious juices. You'll want to use a good amount of butter for this part. It gives the meatballs a lovely richness and helps them to brown evenly. Now don't just leave them there to cook on their own. Turn them regularly with a pair of tongs or a spatula. This ensures that all sides get that beautiful brown color and the meatballs cook evenly. It's a small step, but it makes a world of difference. Once they're browned to your liking, it's time to transfer them to the oven. Baking them allows the heat to penetrate evenly, ensuring they're perfectly cooked all the way through. And while they're baking, all those wonderful flavors we've locked in will have a chance to mingle and intensify. Now, the baking time will depend on the size of your meatballs, but on average, you're looking at about 20 to 25 minutes. You'll know they're done when they're firm to the touch, but still juicy and tender on the inside. And there you have it, perfectly cooked Swedish meatballs, ready to be smothered in gravy or savored just as they are. You can almost taste the love and care that's gone into making them, can't you? Just look at the beautiful color on those meatballs. It's a testament to the importance of browning and baking. And the smell? Oh, it's just heavenly. It's the kind of aroma that makes your mouth water and your stomach rumble in anticipation. Our meatballs are cooked to perfection. Let's move on to the sauce. A great meatball needs a great sauce, and Swedish meatballs are no exception. To truly savor these delightful orbs of flavor, we'll be crafting a traditional sauce that can either take the form of a thick brown gravy or a thin meat juice, depending on your preference. This sauce is the unsung hero of our dish, working in harmony with the meatballs, enhancing their flavor, and providing an extra layer of richness. Let's begin with the brown gravy, a delectable concoction that's as comforting as a warm hug on a cold day. Start by melting a dollop of butter in a pan and whisk in an equal amount of flour to form a roux. Let this golden mixture cook for a minute or two, allowing the raw flour taste to cook out. Slowly pour in beef broth while constantly stirring to avoid any lumps. Once you've achieved a smooth consistency, add a splash of soy sauce, a dollop of Dijon mustard, and a dash of black pepper. Allow this mixture to simmer until it thickens into a velvety gravy that clings lovingly to our meatballs. Now, if you're more inclined towards a thin meat juice, the process is slightly different. Start by deglazing the pan you used to fry your meatballs with a generous splash of beef broth. This will lift all those delicious caramelized bits stuck at the bottom of the pan, infusing the broth with a deep, meaty flavor. Add a splash of cream for a touch of richness, then season with salt and pepper. Allow this to simmer until it reduces to a thin, flavorful juice. Regardless of which sauce you choose, the goal is to create a symphony of flavors that elevates the humble meatball to new heights. Each ingredient in the sauce plays a crucial role, from the beef broth providing a robust base, to the soy sauce and Dijon mustard adding depth and complexity. With our sauce ready, we're nearing the end of our Swedish culinary journey. But don't rush, take a moment to appreciate the aroma wafting from your sauce, a tantalizing preview of the feast to come. Now comes the best part, serving and eating the meatballs. When it comes to serving these scrumptious Swedish meatballs, tradition is key. First, arrange the meatballs on a plate. Pour that delicious sauce we made earlier over them, ensuring each one is lovingly coated. The sauce brings a delectable richness that beautifully complements the flavors of the meatballs. Next, add a generous spoonful of lingonberries on the side. These tart, sweet berries cut through the richness of the meatballs and sauce, providing a perfect balance. If you're feeling adventurous, consider serving with a side of optional pressed cucumber. This adds a refreshing crunch that pairs wonderfully with the soft, tender meatballs. Remember, the presentation is as important as the preparation. A well-presented dish not only looks appetizing but also shows the love and care you've put into creating this meal. Sharing this dish with others is the ultimate joy, bringing a slice of Swedish tradition to your table. And there you have it, authentic Swedish meatballs made with love and ready to enjoy. So that's the secret behind the special Swedish meatballs. We started with quality ingredients, choosing ground meat with just the right amount of fat. We took care to prepare the meatball mixture, remembering that some prefer grated onion while others go for diced and fried. We shaped and cooked the meatballs with precision, ensuring each one was beautifully browned and succulent. We then moved on to the sauce, deliberating between a thick brown gravy or a thin meat juice, a choice that depends on personal preference. And let's not forget the breadcrumbs or rusk crumbs soaked in milk, integral for that soft consistency that's so unique to Swedish meatballs. Accompanying it all, the tartness of lingonberries and the optional crunch of pressed cucumber on the side, adding that extra layer of flavor and texture. Remember, whether it's the breadcrumbs that lend them a soft consistency, the lingonberries on the side, or the optional pressed cucumber, Swedish meatballs are a labor of love. Until next time, happy cooking!